favorite root beer.
Damn.
1919.
Hell of a year. You
A
know?
hell of a vintage.
Exactly. This is pre-mid-century modern root beer. You get it.
The Mimo.
Yeah.
Dini Daddy.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you for having me.
Dr. Gold.
Yes, this
This
is
is-
great.
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
You belong here.
It feels good to be here.
I've been really interested in your arc and who you are and how you ended up DJing all over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride thus far. It's cool. It started in like September of 21. So after I was having some house parties in the summer, and the guy that really got me started was not DJ, but Aarie Cole.
Whoa.
You know Aarie Cole,
Of course,
Yeah,
of
everybody
course.
knows Aarie Cole.
Yeah.
But he would come over and we'd be hanging out, and he's a good friend of mine. And he's like, you know what? With all these records, you should start DJing. And I was like, okay, I'll think about it. And then he came over another time. He's like, dude, you should really do this. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I went online, and Sweetwater was like, you know what? You want to make 6 payments of $600? I was like, okay, yeah. Instead of spending, a lot of money all at once, and I just bought 2 turntables and a mixer, and they came to my house, and then 2 weeks later, I had my first gig in a backyard, and it went really well, and that was kind of the beginning of it all. So,
Incredible.
yeah.
What were the house parties like?
The house parties were a lot of fun. Yeah, they were in my little apartment that I lived for 8 years, and I would just spin a lot of funk music and all kind of stuff, and they were a really good time. And then they got a little out of hand, and I had to stop them. But that's with everything. So all good things come to an end. But it was good while it lasted, for sure.
You live in the same place?
I actually just moved. I bought a house in Wilkinsburg, so I moved over there now.
Very cool.
But yeah, I was in Bloomfield near the cemetery entrance off of Penn for 8 years. And my name was the only one on the lease, and I had like 26 different people live throughout 8 years.
Were you working a straight job, or do you still work a straight job?
I work a straight job like 2 or 3 days a week. I'm a FedEx driver. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday usually right now, but it always changes. So,
Yeah.
but I did that hard for like all of COVID. I started working there during COVID, and I worked there 6 days a week forever, and then it just kind of really burnt me out, and it was too much. So, but luckily now I'm DJing all the time, and there's gigs, and they pay, and yeah, so I don't have to do it as much, which is cool. So
What would you rather, like, what's the ideal?
the ideal job,
Yeah,
the
what would you
ideal
like to be doing with your life,
situation,
man?
Yeah. So I'm in a band, and playing music live is probably my favorite thing to do. And the dream is to just go on tour for maybe 300 days of the year. I would love that. That would be, I know it's a grind, and I've done, 2 months straight of it, and that was awesome. But I would love to do that and see. I mean, I saw most of the country through music just by playing gigs and driving and just touring the country. And I would love to see the rest of the world doing that. Like, that is definitely like the top of the top for me personally.
Well,
But DJing can also open that up, I've been in a band, though, the same band for, almost 10 years with there's 2 core members. There's myself and Daniel Ruffalo. We've been doing it, the 2 of us, strong for this under the same band, same kind of music since 2012 when we lived together out in California. So, yeah,
incredible.
it's wild.
I
Yeah.
want to hear more about the band. Hang on. So, somebody told me that you play instruments. Was it
Yeah.
bass or guitar?
I play the
or-
bass, yeah.
You're a bassist.
I played the rhythm guitar, but then I transferred over to bass, and that just felt way more natural. So I've been playing the bass now for about 6 years. So
Fly Mama Bug.
Fly Mama Bug, yeah.
She tells me that
Our
I have to
disco
ask
mama.
you. I
Yeah,
have to
she's
ask you about
amazing.
musical instruments.
She's awesome.
Incredible, right? I
Yeah,
saw her
seriously.
at was it Cut Chemist with Jurassic 5?
Yeah.
Charlie Tuna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was
she was
there.
in, like, just
she's
in the
like
crowd.
partying. Yeah, with like it could be like 1 a.m. and there's no light out, and she'll have her sunglasses on. I'm like, hey, mama. She's like our disco mom.
Incredible.
Her energy is just amazing. I
There's
love her.
so many people like that in Pittsburgh that just are part of the scene and
Totally.
support things. I think
Totally.
of Kat kind of like that.
Yeah,
It's like somebody who just
absolutely.
comes through and always
sure.
is supporting.
Yeah.
And it's so important for keeping everything alive, keeping
Absolutely.
everything moving.
For sure. And she's like, she supports a lot of people, and it's really great. And I think we should support her till the rest of the time too. So
Totally.
why not? You know,
Hell yeah.
it's good.
What got you started collecting records? You were just a
I've-
fan of vinyl? You like the
Yeah,
sound, or what did?
I prefer the sound? Yeah, and I kind of built a sound system where I just like the vinyl tone just felt so good, and I just wanted to keep going with that. And just having a tangible record was just like, it felt so good to me. So the sound is where it's at, honestly.
What was in your system? Like, what's your? You have a hi-fi?
I mean, I'm not. I wish I had the funds for a hi-fi, but I have just floor speakers with some bookshelf speakers, but spread across the room where they face each other. So it's kind of like in the center of the room. There's so much sound, and it just is like it's just invigorating. I remember when I had only floor speakers, and I was like, okay, I'll get some bookshelf speakers and put them up high. I was like, okay, I was thinking like 1 + 1 = 2, but it's really like 1 + 1 = like 12. The sound is just so incredible, and like being encapsulated that is just there. You cannot buy that, honestly.
I totally agree. I think it sounds much better, but when I interviewed Todd Keebs,
Yeah.
he disagrees. He says that there's nothing special about vinyl.
Yeah.
It's just a low pass with a lot of pops.
Yeah,
basically.
and he's not wrong either.
He's an engineer.
He's an engineer.
It's hard to argue with him,
And
right?
not to mention, like lugging records to gigs is pretty freaking heavy.
Do people get tired of hearing the same records? How do you keep up with their tastes?
I try to just keep it fresh to some degree. It's like probably that first year I DJ'd, I was probably burning records out, and that just happens. Because I got used to. I'm the type of guy where though it's like I pack these bags of records that I have. They hold like maybe 50 records, and it's not like I go to an event or a gig where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spin this record, this record. Like I have them all lined up. It's more just like what's in the bag. I'm gonna spin and see what happens. So it's like sometimes, but if I'm not switching those records, if I don't bring those bags in and like change out the records, they could definitely get a little stale. So I try to like buy records and keep pulling it in and out records too. So which is like important. So.
Where are you getting them from? Is it mostly online?
Mostly Discogs, because
Yeah.
Discogs is like the best thing for humankind. Says my checking account. But also the
But you sell too. Like if stuff gets tired, you can flip
I
it,
could
right?
sell it, but I don't because I just am a weirdo like that and just having them. But I could definitely. I've sold like a handful of records, but compared to buying them, I just like buy them all. But the Attic in Millville is probably my favorite record store.
That place is cool as hell.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I've been really impressed. There's some
It's
cool vintage
awesome.
around there too.
Totally, that place is
Millville's
cool.
hopping, man.
Millville is hopping.
I think that's the place. If I really if I end up staying in Pittsburgh,
Yeah, he
that's
moved
where I
down to
would buy.
Millville. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The little borough down there.
Killer.
We're trying to get our drummer, Michael Zigafus, to become the mayor of Millville.
Holy shit.
He's going to do it.
That is
I want to see that man wearing a sash. It says mayor. It would be amazing. But yeah, he's going to do that. So the Millville will be a much better place after that.
What? Tell me the story of the band.
So yeah, the band. So I moved out to California in 2011. I was 20 years old, and I didn't know my bandmate. I mean, I knew Dan at the time a little well, but he moved out there and went to sound school, and I was like, okay, do you need a roommate? And I went out there and lived there for almost 2 years, and just like worked a lot of jobs and just saw some like amazing music all the time. That's
Yeah.
what I love about LA is like,
Yeah.
it's not if, it's when the bands come to town.
Yes.
Same with like New York City, which is great, but Los Angeles is a beautiful place. And some people don't agree, but I mean, it's like if you don't like the city, you can drive 40 minutes outside of the city and you're in these parks that are just like stunning.
Life-changingly
It's
beautiful,
like,
yeah.
and I like
the Muir
Yeah.
National Forest. and,
totally. It's all right there.
Like on the way out to Vegas
Yeah.
when you're just like in Palm Desert
Yep,
and
and it's
Indio.
Into
and
Death Valley.
it's truly,
It's just,
yeah,
like, it's
the desert
wild.
is breathtaking.
It's crazy. And it's like, think about like Western society. It's like California was the last thing that was like discovered in a sense, It took like California is the last thing mankind touched in the white person's mind. You know what I'm saying? It's like it took that long for everybody to get there, and it's just like it's still holding that like this is the Wild Wild West. It's just so beautiful.
But yet it's so artificial, right?
It
You
is
watch
so artificial.
Chinatown and you
Yes,
think about
yeah.
where the water comes from. You think about
Absolutely.
I love film like what is it, film noir?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
that stuff's amazing, but it's like, yeah,
You're
it's
like,
like,
holy shit! Like all this water is just getting piped from the Colorado
yeah,
River,
and all the way
and if
across
it
the desert,
wasn't,
what would
this
happen?
whole area would just
Totally, it would be.
disappear.
It's like
You can't
if
live
shit
here.
were to hit the fans, LA is the last place you want to be.
Right, right. And that's
Seriously.
why my mom lives in Detroit,
Yeah,
right? It's like it's
exactly.
always
It's
been
like,
her thing.
yeah,
I mean, I keep on having babies, and
yeah.
I can't get her to move anywhere near me because she's just like, I got the
She's
fresh water.
she got the fresh water
I've got
all the
chickens.
time.
I've got fresh
Yep,
water.
like she's good. You know, say the dollar stops working tomorrow. It's like, let's go to mom's house. Like, why not? You're in LA, and there's what 8 or 9 ways to get out of that city, and there's how many people in the county of LA?
It's 20 million
It's
or
20
something.
million,
Yeah.
exactly.
What's the sound of the band? Like, what kind of music
We
is it?
play like psychedelic rock, I would say, that late '60s kind of psych
Amazing.
sound. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of like I wouldn't say distortion pedals, but a lot of reverb and delay going on with the mix. Yeah, so we have an album out, and we released that like early this year, and we're gonna be going back in the studio probably in about 6 months to kind of do it all over again. So
Amazing.
yeah,
What's
it's
the band
fun.
called?
We're called Different Places in Space.
Different Places in Space.
Yeah, it's a long one,
A
but
little bit of a long name.
y-
DPIS.
PIS. So that's what we have. We just
Deep
go by that. Dip
Taking to piss.
Taking to piss. To piss. We like saying double penetration is
Oh,
satanic.
Jesus Christ.
It's satanic. But
That
you
it
know,
is.
yeah,
Wow.
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 Whoa, man.
We went there.
We went there. It's early.
What do you like about DJing?
What I like about DJing, oh man, that's a good question. Probably trying to bring music that I love that people might not have ever heard of, that people enjoy, and people will come up to me and be like, "Hey, what was that?" And be like, "Okay, maybe I've become a fan. They've become a fan of this band through me, that they might change their lives like in the way that it's changed my life, you know." And it's always a positive experience, and the DJ community here is just like phenomenal. Everybody's like so kind and so warm and welcoming, which is like I didn't know what to expect when I started, because some people have been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years here, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try this, and there was no animosity like at all. It was like so welcoming and so warm and pure, and I just like fell in love with it. It was really cool. And like in the band world, it's not like that. At
They
all.
cut your tires and
Yeah, it's just like
block your way from loadout.
instead of saying, you had a great set, when like the other bands just kind of give you the side eye, and it's like, okay, thank you. And it's just like, being a musician, I thought everybody would be cool and warm and fun, and it's not the case really. But that's just reality, and that's okay.
I like Kid Durango. My
Yeah,
buddy, well, I have a couple friends in the band, but the only thing I know about the Pittsburgh band scene is from going to their
you go to their
gigs,
shows and seeing, yeah,
and it is a tough sledding, man. It is
It is
tough
tough here.
sledding. The
Totally.
venues, you go to these
Venues.
venues that are, condemned, or
Right.
these little like
totally.
like
Barely
punk
hanging
joints,
on.
like just
Speakers blown out.
beers in the fridge.
Totally.
You're not getting a percentage of
No,
bar.
exactly.
You're lucky if like 30 people show up,
Exactly.
and you're playing for
Like,
people that are
that-
you're playing for the other bands basically.
Exactly.
Or
it's
their
like,
fans.
And it's like how many times have you have to get your friends out that have already seen you a bunch? It's like, how can you really let go when you're just like, oh, my friend has seen this show 5, 6 times, It's just like, that's the reality of it. In Pittsburgh, it's like, how many bands will go from Philly, they'll go Philly, DC, Cleveland, or like or Baltimore, DC, Columbus. It's like Pittsburgh is just getting constantly skipped over recently, and it's like I don't know if it's a promoter's thing or just like how tours act, and it's like it's tough.
It's venue related. We just
think
have
so.
pretty much smalls and
Yep.
AE when
Yep.
it comes to like mid-sized venues.
Absolutely.
So smalls is what, like 5,000 cap, and
It's a beautiful place.
AE's like 7,000, whatever.
Right.
But other than that, it's just big
It's
venues,
big
and
venues,
baby size.
exactly.
Like Thunderbird, Thunderbird is
It's a great. I think
also cool, but its
for sure.
setup is a little weird, like with
yeah,
the
it's a smaller
balconies and
place.
stuff.
Absolutely, and it's like
So-
we love playing there, and that's
And
probably
Spirit is
Spirit
also,
is
like,
like they have the
Getting
upstairs
some
and
decent
downstairs.
shows.
Absolutely,
Make sure you have fun. It's been
Yep.
doing some cool stuff with the hip hop shows.
totally.
And
RB's a great man.
yeah, amazing.
Mhm.
I've been really stoked that like they have. I think Cool Keith is coming through
Cool.
one of these venues, and then
Yeah.
they brought out Homeboy Sandman. So for me,
Cool.
like I hear people complaining about Pittsburgh getting skipped over, and I'm
Yeah.
like, there's more shows than I can go to.
Right.
But
Which is like,
but I also don't go to that many, right?
right, but still, though, I mean, that says something, you know? And it's just like, I hope it gets better. I mean, there was a period there for where a lot of bands were starting their tours here, which was awesome. So it's like, that's something. So hopefully we can
Yeah.
ride off that. But I know, like, Stage AE is not a pretty venue, and it's like just concrete, and you're standing on concrete, and it's like, why do my knees feel like this? Because I've been standing here for 3 hours. But that venue does bring in artists that a lot of people love, and it's not like you have to go out to, what is it, Key Bank now, out to Burkettstown. It's not like that size. Like, I saw My Morning Jacket there a couple months ago, and it was amazing. It's
Yeah,
like
great
that's
band.
totally, and that's
Wow.
like those are the bands that I really love, and that's the kind of level that, like, a couple years ago they didn't have a place to play like that. You know, you could take them to Smalls, but it's like there's only so many.
They're not going to do Smalls. It's
No,
not a
it's-
big
it's
enough cap.
exactly.
I don't think.
So it's like they would just
Wouldn't
probably
make it
skip
worth
this
it.
town. You know, so like
Exactly.
Stage A is cool. There's a Roxy too.
Oh, yeah, Roxy has been real fun.
Yeah,
I
Roxy's
saw
cool.
Parliament Funkadelic there.
Yeah, were you at that show?
Absolutely.
Yeah, how was it?
Crazy.
It was great,
His
yeah.
daughter is an amazing entertainer.
Yeah, that's like, man.
Amazing.
He's been
She
doing
was
it for
working so hard.
Yeah, he's been doing it for what, 50 years now.
I mean, I saw a documentary where it was talking about how he doesn't pay his musicians and like
Yeah.
everybody was talking all this shit. It was kind of like a James Brown like hit piece.
Yeah,
But when it comes down to it, there's always going to be a leader.
there's always gonna be a leader.
And if there's no leader, there's no money.
right, and if like
It's
exactly,
like it could be zero.
seriously,
I
and it's
don't
like
know.
right. I mean, the fact that like he's still booking, 50 shows across the country. I mean, that's something.
You know.
Yeah, I have a friend that sells his grandson weed when they come into town, which is like so funny. It's just like, yeah. Did you ever see Tales from the Tour Bus? You ever see any of those videos?
Yeah.
It's all like, it's all these. There's a bunch of different musicians, but there's a whole like funk section with like Bootsy Collins doing the interview, and it's just they tell the story and then it's animated. And
That's
it's-
cool. I
yeah,
like that a lot.
It's cool.
Yeah, we need more of that.
More of that all the time.
What about like obstacles? Have you noticed any? I know you said everybody's been super chill about letting you rock and everything, but
Yeah.
like, have there been any setbacks or obstacles you've had to face in order to kind of get to where you are, where you're like a happy, well functioning adult?
Um.
If you are that,
I'm trying to be that. Yeah. Maybe healthcare. Is there a DJ healthcare community I could join on to?
I talk
That
with
would be
Bus Crates a
cool.
lot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bus Crates and I, and that he's worth bringing up
Legend.
also because
Yeah.
you were talking about like the other DJs that have
Mhm.
kind of welcomed you in,
Mhm.
and it's worth talking about all the other amazing vinyl DJs in
Totally.
Pittsburgh, right? Like Pretty
Absolutely.
Tony,
Pretty Tony.
just
legend.
unbelievable talent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, somebody who rocks on vinyl and
Yeah.
it sounds like Serato. There's
sure.
no difference.
It's
Like
amazing.
you never hear a record
Yeah,
skip. You never
never.
hear any kind of
Yeah.
problem. It's
No, I
just
agree.
it's perfectly clean.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
And Anthony and I have done events together, and watching him do it, I'm just like, wow, man. It's like you have these, you're putting these effects on that I would never even think of, and like just the way you mix those tracks together, doing that stuff, I'm just like, okay, that's really sick.
do you like? I'll tell you what I remember from hearing you play. I mean, I went to like 3 gigs,
Yeah.
and honestly, I didn't hear you DJ that much. Is
Right,
one
right,
thing.
right,
So
right.
first of all, I kind of see you as the guy who brings people,
Yeah.
books DJs.
Yeah.
You're kind of like the energy. You're the mastermind behind. I might be wrong, but that was the vibe I got.
That's yeah. I mean, so I do an event at the Goldmark. It's every second Wednesday of the month. It's called Dad's House, and it's usually my myself and my good friend Cameron DJ Wabi Sabi. We DJ.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out
yeah,
Wabi Sabi.
Wabi Sabi. Also
Yeah.
my roommate.
Oh shit.
Kind of a
Yeah,
big deal.
That
No,
dude.
he fucks.
He's got great energy.
Absolutely.
I love his online persona.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I feel like he's very unique.
Absolutely.
Like, there's nobody like him.
No, and I mean, I don't know any DJs within 600 square miles that are just doing city pop stuff, like that Japanese funky 80s synthy sounding city pop. And he knows those like I love Japanese music and I love Japanese culture, but man, he knows like all the producers of that stuff and like what was really happening then. And it's just like it blows my mind. Like he'll be putting out these records. I'm like, Karen, where'd you even find this? You know? It's like Discogs. Shout out Discogs again.
Do you have all of your records listed on
No,
there? Like
no.
so that when you go to a record store, you know what you already have and you can pull it out?
I should.
It's worth it, man.
Especially
I did it on there, and it also tells you how much your collection's worth,
Right.
which is dope.
Yep.
Like, just to know.
and
Also for insurance purposes.
that's what I was about to say. Especially for like, you know, if like say if my house were to burn down, you know, it's
Yeah.
like okay, that's
Yep,
And
exactly.
Wabi
Because
Sabi
it's
has
covered
been-
by renter's insurance.
Totally, yeah. And like Wabi Sabi, he does that, and he's been trying to get me to do that, and it's like, yeah, I need to do that.
You could hire an intern.
Exactly.
All you need to do is start a company, Dini
Is
Daddy
it
Entertainment.
entertain-
We did
it's
it
like-
in New York. We did
Yeah.
it in the Lower East Side. It's called Croc Mode. That's the whole point.
That-
That's literally where the name
It's
Croc Mode
awesome,
came
right?
from,
Okay,
was because we wanted interns to do things we didn't want to do.
that's cool.
So I
yeah.
invented it. It was
Yeah.
just me
Just you
and my
like,
buddies
yeah.
DJing and throwing parties.
That's awesome.
But we were like, we kind of want interns.
Right? Yeah.
'Cause
Like
A lot of this
just,
shit is just not that much fun.
Right. Right.
We want other people to bring people to the shows. We
sure.
want other
It's
people
like-
to like fill out the applications for us to
Right.
get press credentials at the
Absolutely.
festivals.
Yeah.
We want people to be contacting the venues so that we don't have to do all that dirty work of
That's-
trying to get new gigs.
Absolutely. And then not to
yeah.
mention what, you know, the people that they know that they'll bring, it just builds up that
That
community
was
even
it.
more.
That was it. It was a lot of it was inspired because I was an intern
I
in
see.
New York at
Yeah.
a company called Mr. Bugsley Entertainment.
Okay.
And
Mr.
shout out
Bugsley.
Mr. Bugsley.
Where you at, Mr. Bugsley? Was this also in the Lower East Side, or is this just all over Manhattan?
I think Bugsley had an office in Brooklyn,
Okay.
but I can't remember. I know
Yeah.
Matt was one of my co-interns, and then there's a woman who's also on Twitter that I still follow.
Cool.
But yeah, there's
The Lower East Side's a fun time.
yeah, we had a gig at Pianos
Okay.
on Tuesday night every week for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
It's called
Every week.
Two's Booty.
Two's booty. What about three's booty?
Don't let
Don't-
don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Never forget. Is that the Jeffersons? Is that that's
No, I don't know. I've heard people say that. It's just one of my favorite
it's
lines.
a classic. Yeah, or what's another good one? Easy seas don't make good sailors. Pretty good. Ooh, God damn.
Nicht alles Gold ist, was glänzt.
Yes. Und ja. So my good friend Danny, he like pulled me aside recently at this party, and he's like, "Hey, I had this dream, and I got woken out of a dream, and I had to write down what this dream told me. And the dream was, do you know in Germany how Fonzie says goodbye? He's like, I'll beat her A." And then he said he dreamt that, woke up, and wrote it down. I was like, that is incredible, man. What a legend.
Do you have an active dream life?
I do when I'm not smoking weed.
Yeah, the marijuana does interfere with
Totally, REM
dreams
sleep,
quite
absolutely.
a bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I was having I quit smoking weed for almost 2 years, and that first like 2 months was the dreams were just crazy. I'll never forget them.
I still think that they have significance, like
Absolutely.
that they can teach us things, and that it's
Definitely.
probably our contact with alternative dimensions,
Yeah,
contact with like alternate realities, and
absolutely.
a way to kind of channel those things.
Yeah,
Um,
especially like some form of consciousness too that you can pull from. That's real.
I agree. I think people who basically say that it's meaningless, just electrical noise in your brain, are really
I don't think.
missing
Yeah, I
something.
agree. It's like, how can you can't just turn them off, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe you could.
Well, with marijuana,
With marijuana, exactly.
clonazepam,
Yeah,
benzodiazepines, alcohol. I mean, there's lots of ways.
Central nervous system
Depressants.
depressants.
Although people call marijuana a stimulant,
Yeah, which is kind of interesting.
it's mixed up, right? It's not
It-
exactly either one.
No, and it's
the-
weird that a marijuana affects everybody differently.
That's true. Yeah,
Which is
because we
kind
have
of-
different types of CB receptors.
Right.
Cannabinol.
Cannabinol.
Can-
Cannabinol.
Cannabinoid
Cannabinol.
receptor.
Got it at Kmart.
I forgot about Kmart.
Kmart.
Where are you from?
I grew up about a half hour north of here, near North Park. Cheers, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even ask you if you wanted the bourbon or something else. I got like
That's perfect.
Japanese gin and
That's okay. this
different
is
things.
good. Have you
making a
been-
little mixery drink.
Yeah,
That's what we call it in Germany, a mixery drink.
mixery. Sorcery. Have you been in North Park?
I've heard it.
Yeah,
I've heard
or
of
like
it.
Heartwood Acres for a concert. No, so about like a half hour north of the city.
Did you go to college?
I did not go to college. That's when I moved to California instead.
You were like heavy in the band world already, like
Well,
heavy
it's
musician in high school.
I played music. I also did sports in high school, but I did both. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. That was a past life of mine.
Was the hair already long? Was the hair long?
It was not this long. No, yeah, those were more my jock days in the late 2000s, the late 2000s.
I like aughts. Yeah, bring aughts back.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to
The naughty oddies.
the naughty oddies to the windows, to the wall,
To the sweat.
down my young pubes. 2000s. What a time for music.
Skeet.
God damn. Remember the early 2000s? Like we had Ja Rule and Ashanti, but then we had Interpol.
This is like my first mixtapes.
yeah.
The Bling era.
But yeah, absolutely,
era,
the Bling era.
I'm still like absolutely mortified because one of my first crushes was this girl in high school. She was like a field hockey player, and I made her a mixtape. She made me a mixtape, and I made her a mixtape.
Okay.
Her mixtape was like it was like all underground hip hop,
Okay.
atmosphere.
Okay, yeah. Maybe
So
people-
sick,
yeah.
so nice that it's nasty, so banging it's busting, so sweet that it's sick, so dope it's disgusting. What's the
People-
benefit?
Benefit.
I mean, just like
Remember People
all
Under the Stairs?
MF Doom,
MF Doom, yeah,
Putz,
like
you know,
Jay Dilla, all that.
like
yeah.
all amazing records. And I made her one, and it was like Hot Boys, Big Timers,
Big Timers. The All American Rejects.
just yeah, no, it was just all bad. I just feel like such a loser
Yeah.
now that I think about it. But I also feel like the records that I picked
From
go off harder in the club now.
yeah, oh, probably, absolutely. It's kind of full circle now. I bet.
You know,
Just saying.
yeah.
Early 2000s, I was listening to like The Strokes, The White Stripes a lot. I was also in my like classic rock phase of my life then too, like a lot of Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, all that stuff. So I think that's how I really got into music because my parents separated when I was 1, so my dad would pick me up every like 2 weeks, you know, and he lived like 40 minutes away from where my mother lived, and we just listened to music all the time. So at like 5 and 6, I learned about like Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and you know some Frank Zappa and what else? Neil Young. My dad's like a huge Neil Young fan, so it's like I went down that classic rock hole big then, but like. Now today people think it's kind of cheesy, but it's like of course like DVE in Pittsburgh, it's like they've been playing the same 50 songs since like the early 80s. It's like
They're a
out
good
of
50
Carhartt
songs,
out
man.
of Carhartt radios, you know. But yeah, it's been the same. It's like so it's like I don't want to like people be like, oh, you like classic rock. I'm like, yeah, but there's like a lot of good shit in there, deep down in there.
Did you see Ozzy and Sharon's Halloween costume?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's so
was good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did Kanye and
Oh,
his
cool.
wife,
Yeah.
but like where she was holding the pillow.
Oh, that's
And he was dressed in all black like a ninja with the
couldn't even
black
see him.
sunglasses.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so good.
I think about Ozzy sometimes because you know he's not looking great, but that's
No.
okay. He lived a pretty solid.
Drugs
life.
are a hell of a drug.
They are definitely, and he knows. He did them often and well. What a guy! Seriously,
Yeah, inspiring.
definitely.
He
Black
lived
Sabbath?
hard.
Let's see. I brought a Sabbath record.
Oh, sick. Did you ever hear Charlie Manson's record?
I haven't. No,
Look at Your Game Girl.
that sounds awesome.
It's so good.
Yes, I believe that.
It's one of my favorite
Was
records.
this while he was in prison, or
No,
is this,
no,
this is
no,
before.
no. When he was
Okay.
recording with Brian Wilson.
Okay, I see all that stuff. Yeah.
Look at your game, girl. Ooh, that's nice. Original.
This is original. Yeah,
You can tell.
Yeah, Sabbath,
Look
Bloody
at
Sabbath.
your game, girl.
This is probably like the first time I ever had like a sexual feeling with this album cover. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's pretty.
Does it say 666 or 606?
I think it's 666. Yeah,
That's a crazy
it's
design.
pretty wild though. But I mean, Geezer Butler is probably like one of my favorite bass players of all time, and just they were all freak musicians, you know. And it's not like
Mm.
it was to me. Yes, I guess it's heavy metal, but to me, it's just like dark, deep, jazzy
Mm.
rock and roll, you know. And it's there's some tracks on here like Sabracadabra, There's a big piano solo in it, and the album. They were recording this while the band Yes was down the hall, and they brought in
Oh wow,
Rick Wakeman, and he's the guy playing keys on this track, and it's just like
crazy.
all these tracks are just like phenomenal,
You storm
life
with the
changing.
plastic on the same side as the opening, and the record just falls out.
Honestly, there's no specific way. You know, it's like sometimes I get lucky and they go like this. Sometimes with the other way they pop out. Most of my records don't even have sleeves, so don't like think this is the first one I bring out. That all my records are like this.
I like to set it up so they pop right out.
That's smart.
Yeah.
And then I've heard things are like, well, though you don't do that because dust gets in the record, and I'm like, yeah,
that makes
and I'm
sense.
like,
That makes sense.
but I mean, if you're spinning them all the time,
Yeah, they're gonna get fucked up.
it's gonna, yeah,
Um,
just do it.
who else did we not mention that plays vinyl here?
Well, Hoagie Dreams, Jarett Tebetts, legend.
Oh,
He's the
Jarett
one that
Tebetts, cool
puts
as fuck. Yeah.
he's the one that puts the disco together.
Was he?
Trace
Yeah,
Disco
yeah,
Sunday
he told me he was
Disco.
playing. Yeah, he
Yeah.
told me he had a vinyl
Yeah,
set.
yeah.
Definitely.
And he does he's been doing work for Hot Mass for years. Like I don't know how long, but I know a long time.
Yeah.
But Jared's been like probably one of the best DJs that has kind of taken me under his wing and given me tips about stuff. Because like as I learn and go here, I remember we had one event and I brought like 3 bags of records, and at the end he's like, you know, don't bring so many records. And I'm like, you know what, Jarett, you're right, because I don't need 3 bags of records. It's like you only need 1 really. So, but that event we have, you were there at Trace for the disco.
Yep.
That's probably my favorite event to be a part of and DJ, because it's just is like, it just feels so good there on a Sunday. And like most of the time it happens year round. You know, it's like
Yeah.
even in the winter it's outside, and it's like we
Dope.
we
They have heaters or
yeah, we actually, Anthony Susan lives down the street from there. We went, Jarett and I, we took a wagon and we actually took his chimenea from his backyard, and then Anthony sold it to Trace. So it's like there's another chimenea
that's
there.
hilarious.
But it's great. You could see us like, I wish somebody saw us, Jarett and I, walking down the street with a red fire wagon and us just like putting a chimenea on top of it. It was so good. But it's cool because like people come out on a Sunday and it's 35 degrees, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
people come out and
It's
they're
got a great
enjoying it.
following. It was crazy how
Totally.
I went and knew everybody there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I
And
was
it's, yeah,
there. I saw
Good people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think of all the people I saw. It was No Casino.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my friend the therapist with her son. What's her name? I saw oh fuck.
You know.
I saw homegirl who runs Spirit.
Lee.
Yeah, Lee was there.
Lee's great.
Um,
Spirit's a great place too.
yeah, that's a crazy. I mean, it was crazy. Like everybody I knew or like instantly became friends with because it was just
goes
like
there.
all moving on the dance floor.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. It feels
every-
so
people had their
good.
kids during the day, and then at night it like shift into a totally different
Absolutely.
party.
Totally. It's so wild.
It's like 2 parties in one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, cool. Why not on a
that.
Sunday? It's great.
Love
It's
that.
and you know,
It's kind of the service industry, right? It's kind of like the way I
yeah,
think
I
about
would
it.
say
Like a Sunday
so.
party is kind
Yeah,
of
like a
you
Sunday,
get that
for sure. You know, and it's like people.
like my people.
Yeah, absolutely. And like people come out and they'll stay out till the end. It usually ends around a little after 9, and then some people just go home, or people keep partying. It's like it's really cool, and I'm like, I love it. It's like it's so fun. Disco and funk to me is just like some of my favorite stuff ever.
Disco's been embattled.
Seriously,
It's nobody listens to techno.
Mhm.
Disco still sucks.
right,
Disco demolition night.
right. It's it's always hung out and stayed. It's like people were like disco died. I'm like, I think it just got kicked under the rug. You know.
It was always an attack on effeminate, like
Yes,
on
absolutely.
femininity and
Yeah.
it was this kind of machismo.
Absolutely.
We listen to rock
Exactly.
music. We can't embrace
Right.
our like whatever.
Our fun dancey side. you know?
Yeah. And it was also an attack on it was a homophobic
Oh, for
attack,
sure,
right? It was an
absolutely.
attack on gay culture
Yeah.
because that was kind of like Studio 54. That was the disco,
54,
right?
absolutely.
It was
And
a,
it's like
a gay
that.
scene, ballroom
Right,
scene,
right.
gay scene.
And mixed with like the AIDS epidemic coming out, it's kind of like they all kind of clash together, and they're like, we have to just kind of stop doing disco instead, which is like kind
Whoa.
of fucked up, you
Whoa. I
know?
never thought about it. Yeah, like that.
It's like, which is a shame because it's like that disco music is just so pure and just so like, it's so alive to me, you know? And it's just is like, I mean, sure, it's like ABBA, there's ABBA and all that disco, but underneath that, there's just some funky ass disco that is just like so amazing, and just like just the way it builds up, it's just like it blows my mind, and it'll always blow my mind, which is like
I like the dubs. Like I like the stuff without vocals.
absolutely.
Like Italo disco.
Yeah, Italo disco,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Um,
Kind of that spaghetti western stuff, you know. Some of that Italian disco is phenomenal.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff on soundtracks too. Like if you ever
Yeah.
go to Jerry's and you're trying to find that stuff, sometimes it's in the
It's all in those-
soundtrack
yeah, absolutely.
section.
It's just like it's
and
all
like
it's all
80s soundtracks.
absolutely. It's all good for sure. Yeah, we went from disco to like Poison. What else? I mean, like 80s. I mean, the
Yeah,
80s just
yeah.
got
New Jack Swing.
New Jack Swing. Yeah, exactly. And it's like the new wave stuff. It's like I don't really love the new wave stuff. I mean, yeah, it's like it's a little too like cheesy for me personally. It's just a little too like I don't know, the electronic drum set. I just like
Yeah.
electric
I'm reading
drums.
Dave Burns' book right now.
Yeah.
Called like The History of Music or
Yeah.
something like that. Like how music works,
Yeah.
maybe something like
I've
that.
heard of that book.
He talks a lot about
Yeah.
like what that aesthetic was,
Yeah.
about how the people in the new wave were all wearing suits.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like you had to have this conformist
yes,
thing
absolutely.
in
Like,
order to be a part
it
of
was
it.
like,
So he would
and they were
intentionally.
gray suits, you know, it's like communism. It's like, yeah,
Yes.
we go from disco balls and glitter to like oversized suits for like
Zoot suits.
suits, and it's like, it's like,
And he had one. He talks about how having one polyester suit and how
Yeah.
you would get too hot in it.
Right.
And that's why he switched to a black T-shirt.
I see.
So it became black T-shirt
Over
with
the
black
blazer.
jeans.
I see.
But the black jeans they didn't sell in the U.S. Even
Okay.
though they were trying to look like American rockers, like rockabilly, kind of like when you're a jet, you're a jet all the way.
Right.
But the only place they could get the black jeans, the skin tight jeans, was in
UK?
France.
Is in France. I never knew that. That's crazy. Like, why? Like, I love the French. Like, that's crazy though.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stories in there. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying reading that one.
I know, like, David Byrne. I know that they have that Talking Heads movie that I want to go see because, like, I don't really love David Byrne, so I'm trying to get educated on it. So it's like I don't want to be some ignorant asshole.
The one movie that I've seen of his was the one with John Goodman. It was a hysterical film.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. It's Talking Up or Walking Up or something like that. I'll put it in
It's
the notes.
good. Okay,
Yeah, it's really good.
that's cool. Yeah, I need a like. I've heard some Talking Head tracks. Like I've heard a lot of their music, but I never really got into them. So I want to like at least be sure that I don't like them. Not knowing enough to just not like them. You know. I just feel like David Byrne just doesn't party. I hate to say that. Pardon me, David Byrne. I mean, he did that album with St. Vincent, which was cool. I don't know if you ever heard that in like
No.
the mid 2010s. I would say maybe 2015. They did an album together, and it was cool. But yeah, I need to like. I have some Talking Head albums that I listen to, but I'm just like never sold
Doesn't go
on
hard
it.
enough.
It doesn't go hard enough for me.
You like
Which
The
is like-
Clash?
I like the Clash a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
It's like, yeah.
Ramones? Same thing.
Same
it's all
thing.
kind of like the soft, the
It's
stripped
just-
down,
exactly,
like
a
the
little
drums are a little
sappy.
bit
Totally.
repetitive, and it's just
like
it's
yeah.
almost like not amplified.
That's like
It's
more-
like they didn't plug in the amps.
I agree. Like Morrissey and the Smiths too. It's just like
What-
I just never could really dive into it.
What about the
unfortunately.
Stones?
I like the Stones, yeah.
So
Stones
it's just
are
a little
cool.
more country.
Totally, it is a little more country, and it's
Yeah.
like I saw the Stones in 2020 in October or 21, and
Yeah.
they were just like amazing.
Killer,
I
right?
was blown away.
But that's all Ronnie Wood.
yeah, exactly.
Nobody realizes that
Yeah.
that it's like Keith is just like a skeleton
Absolutely.
of himself.
Yes,
He does a little like
It's
and
exactly.
just Ronnie is out there
Episodes
just
are, like
playing
shredding all
every
the way
note,
through.
fucking
I'm like,
railing
Totally.
it.
I was
He's
looking-
running the show.
Seriously, I was looking at Keith. I'm like, how many blood transfusions has he had to get the heroin out of his system to get here? But I mean, the fact that they put on that a good show, and Mick Jagger is sprinting across the stage. It was unbelievable. I was blown away. And I've seen a lot of bands in like that age group, and I was just like, their energy was phenomenal. Keith Richards is still alive. Like, there's hope for us all, guys. Don't give up.
Yeah. Keith just did an interview on what's his name, the Jewish Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Which I haven't watched yet because it's like limited to
Yeah.
wherever you can watch it, like
Right.
Sirius XM or some bullshit.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm not the biggest Howard Stern guy.
Yeah, I don't really.
He kind of seemed like a creep, but I did like his
Yeah.
movie. What was it? Points, Private Parts.
Where he's
Private
like,
Parts is pretty funny.
Where he's like a Godzilla-sized Howard. Yeah, like
On the cover,
all over
yeah,
on the
yeah,
cover.
on the cover.
Yeah.
The reason I liked it was it really gets into the radio.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
it kind of gives you the history of like
That's
what
cool.
radio was,
Right.
what the shock jock was.
And that was what, the 97, 98, and that was like pretty the peak of radio at the time because everybody was tuning in on FM stuff.
Yeah. Did you grow up on radio?
I did grow up on radio, yeah, and CDs.
What channels were you listening to? Do you remember? Or like what kind of music was playing?
Oh man, probably like the rock music, and I remember, my mom would have YEP on 91.3 and
Yeah.
like 88.3 and even the classical stuff, yeah,
Yep.
89.3, all that stuff, yeah. She was a big 91.3er back in the day, yeah. She would donate back, she got me on some bands that weren't really mainstream because of that. So
Shout out to Selecta, man.
yeah,
That show was
that
incredible.
was
Grand
incredible.
Groove Radio.
Oh man, so funky.
That was amazing.
Every time I see
Missed that.
Selecta, I'm like, more Bootsy. Love Bootsy. He's the man, and he is like, what a success story. He's gone all
Twitch?
over. Yep, Twitch.
Yeah,
It's
Twitch.
awesome.
Changed his life.
It's really cool. Why not?
I think that the cream rises to the top.
Yeah, totally.
Like when you've put in enough time and you've really focused on your craft and
So-
honed it, and your
Yep.
sword is really, really sharp,
Absolutely,
no matter what they put in front of you, you're going to cut it in half.
for sure.
It doesn't
It's-
matter how thick the tree is. If
Right,
your
no.
katana is sharp enough,
Exactly. It's like
it's gone.
Right, like luck is earned, pretty much. And I feel like I try to live by that. And it's like hard work pays off. What is it? A master has failed more than a novice has tried, and it's like it makes you want to just keep going and going and going. Failure is a part of it, and it's just you have to fail. If you don't fail, you're not trying. And it's like don't give up. And I've seen a lot of people fail and give up, and it's just like, don't do that because it's worth just keep going. That's a part of it. How about this? What was your first concert that you ever went to?
Man, I remember Slayer like very well. It definitely wasn't the first, but it's the first one that I like really remember.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Atmosphere
That was cool.
at the Blind Pig in Ann
Okay.
Arbor when I was like 15 because
Yeah.
I remember it really well because I was on a learner's permit, and so I had to get home before it turned dark, like before 10 p.m. So I left the
Yeah,
show
for sure,
early.
early,
Like
yeah.
I remember seeing POS, the opener. It was
Yeah.
amazing. And then I
Yeah.
saw Slug, and he came out, and like he did a couple songs, and I was like,
It's
uh-oh,
9:30.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin, here we
Pumpkin.
go. Exactly. Like, all right.
So I remember that. But Slayer, I remember like getting like face paint. Like,
Yeah.
my girlfriend put
all
on
out.
face paint on me and my buddy, and then we got
guys
ready
went
for the
there?
show, and
Exactly.
we went hard.
Absolutely. All night.
I
That's
remember
awesome.
that the opener was Soulfly
Cool.
and In Flames.
So what year
and
was
then
this?
So I don't know. We were 15.
2001? No, not even.
Yeah,
earlier
something like
than
that.
Yeah,
2001,
that's cool.
2001, 2002 in Detroit, Pine Knob or something.
Yeah, cool.
And In Flames, Soulfly was like the loudest thing I'd ever
I
heard. And I was
believe
like,
that.
I can't handle this. Like, what should we leave?
Right.
And then when
Like, just
Slayer comes out, they drop this curtain, and twice as many speakers just appear.
Exactly,
Like the
and you're
whole
like,
fucking thing just.
what the fuck? It's like, okay, and but you stayed though. Yeah, it's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. We stayed.
Your ears are probably hissing for like a week after that.
I
but
can't
it was-
believe that I don't have hearing loss.
Me
It's so
neither, knock
crazy
on
to
wood,
me. Because I used to
seriously.
drive around with sounds. I had the custom speakers in my car,
Yeah.
Alpine
Yeah.
12s, Alpine 12s. I would put them in my friends'
The-
cars, like
Just like
gator
license-
boots with a pimped out
Yeah, true.
Gucci suit. Ain't
That
got
was
no
the time for that.
but I still fuck.
Absolutely. Or about like like 3-6 Mafia back then too. I mean, they were just like that Memphis, that Southern rock
Did
stuff
a lot
is
of
just
that.
like so much fun. So much fun.
Roll out.
Oh yeah.
Boom,
Me
boom,
and
boom,
my
boom,
homies and like
boom, boom, boom,
shaking the
boom.
subs.
A lot of Ludacris.
Soldier Boy. Yeah, exactly.
No, I
Ludacris.
wasn't ready for Soulja yet.
Yeah,
Soulja
no,
showed up
it's
when I
like-
was at Pitt. I remember
Yeah.
distinctly that record was on the radio every
the
day
time.
for a full year.
It's just like
Boom, boom,
yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
It sounds
boom, boom,
God, I hear it now.
boom, boom, boom.
It was like made in his basement, and it just is like played. I mean, Soldier Boy probably has he probably bought 10 houses from his like production level of that album.
I thought he went broke or something.
Probably, but good for him. He
Yeah,
probably
was
he
on
lived
with,
it.
He was on with my buddy from South Carolina.
Okay.
Whose name is
South Carolina.
Charlemagne the God.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlemagne had him on. He's still wearing those
Is
stupid
Soulja Boy
sunglasses.
Is he from the South?
Yeah, definitely.
It sounds like it's southern.
Definitely.
It's more like Georgia or
Yep.
like stuff
Yep.
like that,
Yep.
right?
Yep. He's
Atlanta
from the
maybe.
South.
Yeah.
He's from the South,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Outcast though. I mean, those guys are like
Dungeon Family. You ever see the Dungeon Family documentary?
that shit's
So good.
amazing.
So good.
What they were doing.
Have you
in the
dabbled
90s,
at all? Like making music, making beats?
Like making beats?
Production?
Not really, honestly. I don't own a computer, dude. I don't own a computer or a television, so it's
Oh,
like
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of analog all the way still.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Will you do the party? Will you start the party with me this spring
Sure.
at Blue Sky?
Blue Sky.
Called,
Yeah.
Stone Age Brunch.
Okay.
And it's you and me
Okay.
throwing the party.
Yeah.
It's a completely analog party. No cell
Perfect.
phones allowed. We lock up everybody's phones.
That's awesome.
No computers. It's
Nothing.
all vinyl,
Perfect.
all cash.
I love
So
that. Nope. All cash
we don't take
transactions.
we don't take credit cards. It's just cash
It's
at the
just
bar.
cash. That's
It's
amazing.
absolutely just
Those
school.
85,000 new IRS employees are going to be pissed. It's gonna
You
be
know
good.
about that?
Oh yeah, I was like, why do they get guns? You
Well,
know?
did
It's
you
like-
hear the new Speaker of the House tried to slash their budget? He
Yeah.
goes like, "Yeah, sure, like you can what was he trying to get money for? Maybe for Israel or something?" He's like, "Yeah, you can have like the $3.5 billion. No problem. We'll give it
Yeah.
to Israel. We'll just take it from the
we'll
IRS
take it from the
budget.
IRS, exactly. Like, yeah, no problem. We'll take it from their
Ammunition
new
budget.
Colt handguns. You know, it's crazy.
What do they need all
Yeah,
that
that's-
ammunition for?
It's kind of sus, I would say.
Well,
Well, it's like I guess Venmo. They're trying to crack down on Venmo, you know, and it's like what transactions over $600 can go on. These IRS can get in there and figure out what's going on. I bet you the IRS cannot stand Venmo more than anything. Along with
what
like
about crypto? That's how
crypto,
Hamas
I mean,
got funded.
that's how-
That's how
exactly.
Hamas did their attack.
exactly
Was off fucking
off all
Bitcoin, dude.
Yep. Man, I remember in like 2010, I had some degenerate neighbors that were buying on the dark web with Bitcoin. And man, if I just should have been like, hey, can I get $100 worth of Bitcoin in 2010?
Yeah, could you imagine? I was thinking about just if I would have only accepted Bitcoin for my parties back in New York.
Yeah.
Like, just that's all I accept.
That's all you
I just accept Bitcoin.
Bitcoins.
Right
Yeah.
now, I take 5% of my paycheck in,
Yeah.
in Bitcoin,
That's awesome.
and it's popped.
It's popped.
It popped, dude. I'm at
Since-
35.
Absolutely. Even
I'm
since
chilling
last
at
year.
35 right
yeah,
now.
Right. And like,
It goes like this.
yeah. I mean, what? Last year it was at
If you look
it was
over
at
10 years,
16.
don't look over 1 year.
No,
look over
no, no.
10 years.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Well, I mean, at the peak it was what? Almost 60,
Yeah.
and then it dropped to
Doesn't
not
matter.
16.
It's a
Doesn't
blip.
matter. But now
It's
it's,
a blip.
exactly consistently. It is just going to be. It's because I mean, it's like that is going to be. I feel like that's going to be the currency that. I mean, it's just so like realistic in terms of like it's funded by the people, right? And it's monetized by people instead of some central bank. It's
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
a lot to be said about that.
Yeah. Well, it's
They
a
can't-
digital world,
Yeah.
so we
absolutely.
should have a digital currency,
I agree.
Right?
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Dr. Dapp is heavy into that whole
Yeah.
world.
Oh yeah.
He's got a whole podcast on
I
it.
love it.
Yeah, he did a whole diatribe, explained to me everything about
Damn.
NFTs. NFTs
exactly.
aren't actually on the blockchain.
No,
it's just a
aren't.
link.
They're just a
It's
link.
just a fucking
That's
link,
crazy.
man.
I mean, and at
If
the
the
height
website
there,
stops hosting your picture, you just don't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist.
damn. And at the height, they were like, some
Bumping.
NFTs were going
Bumping.
for a lot of money. It's crazy.
Bumping.
Bumping.
You don't own any?
I don't own any NFTs. No.
Yeah. And do you own any art?
Like
Do
actual
you collect art?
I
Yeah.
do have some art. at
Visual
home.
art?
Visual art. Yeah. Paintings mostly. Yeah.
Do you make any art?
I don't really make art. No.
No.
Just music is.
Have you
music's
recorded
for me.
any mixes?
Like online, like live mixes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have with my friend called Seafoam. Have you heard of Seafoam? His name's Kevin. He does a lot of like he films people mixes in almost like a my analog journal kind of setting,
Dope.
and it's cool.
I like that.
Yeah, we did like he invited me over. He's like, yeah, come over and do like an hour mix. I was like, okay, and we were having so much fun. I did like a 2-hour long mix.
Dope.
It was awesome.
Dope.
We just kept going and going. It was a lot of fun.
How many records is 2 hours? Is like one big box, 50
Probably-
records, something like that?
Yeah, probably like I had 2 bags, so it's like about
2
almost
bags.
100 records, I would say. And I
Wow.
probably had like 20, 30 records still to spare. I could have kept going a little longer. It was fun though. We had so much fun. It was cool.
Are you playing like mostly LPs, like
That's
records,
mostly
songs off
LPs,
LPs, or do you
yes,
have
mostly.
45s
I
or
have
singles?
I have a handful of I have more singles than I do 45s, but I have a handful of 45s too. I'll spin a couple of those, but it's mostly LPs. Yeah, so LPs all the way. Yeah, because I don't know. I just buy records because I like that artist and some of those tracks on it. I spin out. I mean, I have singles and I'll buy singles if I can, but if I can get the whole album, I'll just buy the whole album. You know.
For me, it makes a lot of sense because when I'm shopping, I have 2 completely different record shopping strategies. Whereas on the one hand, if I want a record to listen to,
Yeah.
I only want an LP.
Yeah.
And I hate all my singles.
Right.
There's no, like, I would never put that on if I was trying to chill and clean the house or do the
cook dinner,
dishes or make dinner.
absolutely.
And then on the other hand, if I'm DJing,
You just want
I
40. You
only want a
12s.
45.
You only want 45s or singles. I get that. For
yeah,
sure.
I want the acapella, the instrumental.
Oh yeah.
If I'm mixing hip hop,
Right.
and if I'm mixing funk, boogie, disco,
Right.
I want the big holes, little records.
Right. Exactly.
They
Which
just
is like,
to me they sound brighter.
they
They're
do,
louder.
and they're louder.
They're-
absolutely.
When I'm DJing, I don't want to have to guess where the song is.
no,
like, put
it's
that
just
shit
like put
on.
that on and just like then take it from there.
It's more fun to
Totally.
me, and
I get that.
yeah.
And it's not as heavy, you know. It's like I guess it all depends, but most records like LPs, they're in big, thick cases of like, they're in
yeah.
their cases are bigger than just like a
Paper sleeve.
Papers, exactly.
Sick.
Yeah, it's simple.
Love a paper sleeve. And also, I like the first time I really saw people mixing vinyl, it was on the Bowery on
Okay.
Mobile Mondays in New York. Mobile Mondays, Soul on the Horn crew.
Monday nights, people would come out. Yeah, that sounds
It was
awesome.
people like Just Blaze,
Okay,
people like Operator EMZ,
okay.
people
Never heard of
like
It's all strictly vinyl, pretty much.
only
That's only
records,
vinyl,
yeah,
only
only vinyl.
records.
It was mostly 45s, but every once
Yep.
in a while somebody would bring up
But
12
that-
inches,
12
like
inches,
yeah,
That's
or
so cool.
LP.
That's awesome.
But it was only records. I remember seeing Strafe perform there.
Yeah, that was.
They were still like, I think they're still around. Set it off on
Yeah.
the left. Set it
Okay,
off.
okay,
I
yeah,
suggest.
mm.
Set it off.
And they were
Come
just
on,
they were
and set it
DJing and
off.
spinning. Yeah,
They were mostly just like rapping.
that's awesome.
But my buddy, I think, played that party
Mm.
eventually, named Colin Mannix,
okay,
and him and I collaborated on an all vinyl mix
cool.
where he was like a big record collector and was heavy on Discogs, spending thousands and thousands of
Yeah,
dollars getting
all the time.
ultra rare shit.
Yep.
He collected everything he wanted to play in this mix that we did, which was kind of like based on Cold War era
Okay.
paranoia
Okay,
and funk.
that's awesome.
And it was like dark and kind of scary
Yeah.
and just like, War Games, the movie War Games.
No.
We used that like as the
Okay.
soundtrack throughout it.
Oh, cool.
It's about a computer that they use to test like this scenario where the Russians are attempting to
Okay.
shoot us with nukes, but then we get confused and the computer gets confused and it thinks that the
Okay,
Russians are
so-
actually, so it launches its nuke.
Oh, whoa.
It's all bad. But
That sounds kind of cool though.
yeah, it's a great movie. But yeah, the mix was killer. It's called Attack Decay.
Attack Decay.
And it's out there
I love
somewhere on
that.
the internet, man.
Yeah, somewhere.
But the way it worked is, I showed up at his place. I ripped all the records into Serato,
Okay.
so that I could really scratch the shit out of
Yeah,
them
yeah, yeah.
on just
On, like,
regular
s-
control
regu-
vinyl.
Yes.
So I recorded all of his shit. Now I have it all,
Now you got it all. Yeah.
and they're
And there are probably some
some
cool
jams.
tracks on
Yeah,
there
some
that like
jams.
a lot of people have never heard of.
Totally.
That's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, New York City's awesome, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely miss it, but I don't miss the struggle. Like, I
Absolutely.
don't miss having to move my car.
Yeah,
You know,
every
at
other
5
week.
o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. Switch it
like
to the
having
street.
Yep, moving it from Bergen and Kingston,
Totally.
and St. James,
Yeah.
and having to have little notes in my phone about
Right.
where my car was and what
Right.
time to set it up. Like every fucking I still have that. Shit. It was like a
Absolutely.
huge
Every,
list
exactly.
of every
week
single
by week. That's
yeah,
crazy.
every single street, and I liked you know, never knowing who I was going to run into.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I liked being kind of like seeing Andre 3K
Yeah,
or
that's wild.
meeting, you know, this amazing Canadian woman that I ended up staying with for a while, who's like comic book artist and
Damn.
poet, and
Yeah.
like
You just never know.
just like all these amazing people you
It's
run
a melting
into.
pot. Absolutely.
But and then like the best coffee in the world, the best
Yeah.
food in the world, like
Right.
upstate, you know,
I agree.
everything was just like it's on a higher level, you know.
For sure.
I
It's
think of,
elevated.
sometimes I think about it like the bar we would go to that was in Williamsburg, right
Mhm.
where my buddy lives, above the like 20 Sides store or whatever.
Okay.
Shout out Danny Longarms.
Danny.
But if you go across the street from his place, like near Niagara was like the bar that was right over there. But there's another bar, and it's like a dive bar.
Yeah.
You walk in there,
you
but
just never
they've
know.
got a $3,500 espresso machine.
Just like, yeah.
You wouldn't see that in Pittsburgh.
No, not at all.
They-
Ever.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like
Absolutely.
there's
There's
an attention to detail. And then when you go
Absolutely.
there on Monday night at 10 p.m.,
Yeah,
there's some dude spinning vinyl
exactly.
and killing
And
it,
killing it, like,
murking it.
Consistently.
So
All the time.
you know,
I know it's give and take because man, I love New York City, but it's really expensive right now. And since COVID, like it seems like just the finance boys and girls have taken over that city, and it's losing its artist charm. But I mean, it is like the center of the universe, at least it's the center of culture, I would say.
it's the center of tourists, man.
Absolutely.
Like if you want to be a DJ, if you're serious about it,
Right.
there's really only a few places you can go.
Yeah.
It's Miami,
Yep.
LA,
New York,
New York,
Detroit,
or Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Vegas.
That's it. Really, because those are the 4 places where you have tourists,
Yeah, exactly.
and tourists make you make money.
Absolutely.
If you're just DJing for the same crowd every week,
It's
every
gonna-
week,
there's not gonna be money there.
eventually
true.
it runs out. Like
Seriously.
it's kind of like
It's-
going into
yeah.
a punch bowl
Right.
and just like keep pouring
It's
yourself
just
out of the
like-
same
it's
punch
like- it's all
bowl.
ice by now.
I said you've been so good, I got to tell somebody else. Hey, hey, oh. Hey, hey, baby. Hey, hey, baby. I can't get enough now. All right, I can't get enough now. Look at here. Like a Romeo, he told Juliet, I love you, baby. I'll never forget. Like Cleopatra told her, Anthony, you can go away, but you can't leave me. Hey, you are real.
me about the records you picked, man.
Yeah, dude. I would love to.
Go ahead and make my day, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, you want some of this dessert?
Sure, I'll try it.
Try this dessert.
Mousse?
Yeah, a little mousse.
Mousse? Oh, yeah.
Should be good.
Cool.
Feel like a
That was fun.
vibe.
Mm-hmm. Good times.
Shit.
Sure. You know.
I'm smaller now, but it's still good.
Still, though.
Still looks
No, it's
good.
good. I believe that. It's cool. You look good. I'm looking. Not really supposed to look there, but I see you there. Hey, Mom.
Let's see what this mousse is looking like.
Yeah, let's see. I thought it was pronounced Mousse. It's French, right?
Mousse d'Orsay.
Oui.
Wow, there's 4 different toppings.
Whoa.
This is intense. I'm just gonna try it without any.
Where's
of the
this
4
from?
toppings.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't
It's
need
the
to.
Monterey
Oh,
Fish
yeah.
Grotto
Oh, yes.
on top of Pittsburgh at the.
Mount Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
How is it?
Wow.
Is this Garnier Fructis? Should I put it in my
Fuck.
hair?
Jesus?
Oh, fuck yeah. Take my strong hand.
Well, that's crazy. With the peanut butter?
Whoa. It was nuts.
Can you imagine with the peanuts and all the other bullshit?
God damn.
That'd be too good for TV.
Can't teach that shit. Damn.
Well, thanks for enjoying. Thanks for.
That was awesome.
Yeah, dude. I told you I had
I don't eat
dessert.
chocolate much, but
It's worth it when it comes to that.
it's real good. Hey, cheers to that. So,
Chin chin.
chin chin, yeah.
Yeah.
From there.
I'm like so inspired by the type of music you play, and just hearing those records, it makes me think about my approach to party rocking with vinyl.
Mhm.
I think I have to completely rethink it. I don't think that it's about being the most obscure dude anymore. I think it's just about playing the right songs,
Yeah.
playing songs that people can dance to.
Can dance to and has a
Yeah.
rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like I like being obscure, but I also like being palatable, I guess you could say. You know?
Yep. I need to rethink everything.
I was DJing at Belvedere's once, and this girl came up to me. I had no idea who she was. And she came up to me, and she just looked at me, and she gave me the thumbs down sign. So I got off the DJ booth, and I was like, hey, you're the only one that is complaining, so maybe you should change your philosophy. But, I mean, it definitely was like, okay, well, maybe, I mean, I did hold myself accountable, but it was like, okay, well, I don't want to spin stuff that everybody knows, but it's also, there's that fine ground of like, okay, play stuff people know, but play stuff people don't know. It's like, how do you got to kind of play that field back and forth, Yeah. Because that keeps, you want to grab people's ears, And it's like, maybe that's by something like that they do know. So it's like, it's tough. Or so maybe it's like something that somebody covered that they know. Like that's kind of something that I do sometimes. Like that record I spun earlier by Krungbin.
Yep.
That was a Gypsy Woman cover. And it's yeah, I think Krungbin's like, I don't know, Mark Spear, like I was saying, like, I think he's the best guitarist in the world right now. I think he is like, he is so fucking good, dude. He's so good.
Their drummer too.
Drummer, Donald,
The whole band, man.
DJ
It's the
Johnson. Yep, Donald Johnson is a freak. Yeah, Laura Leasy on the bass. It's just incredible. And what they have done for music is just so special. It's like power trio, not much instrumentals. And they have like taken over the world, and they've played all the huge venues. They've sold out Radio City Music Hall 3 nights in a row. They did the Opera House in in Sydney, Australia, like a couple nights in a row. Like they are playing these massive venues, the Greek Theater in L.A. and in San Francisco, a couple nights in a row. It's like they are selling out and they're doing it in style well.
Is it kind of what you're thinking about for your band?
I mean, I would love that. Absolutely. I mean, it's like our sound is kind of worldly like Krungbin, but it's more psychedelic, I would say. More of kind of like, I think my goal would be for the band to probably go on a tour run and open up for like King Gizzard. I don't know if you've ever heard of King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard. Like, I think that is something in our wheelhouse that we could do, and that's definitely a goal that I would like to get to, because it's
Say the band name again.
different places in space.
Different places in
DPIS,
space.
Dipis. That's how most
piss,
people know.
taking
the
the piss.
taking the piss.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, King Gizzard.
King
If
Gizzard,
you're listening,
King Gizzard's the shit.
you
dude.
need an opener.
Yeah, hey, we're here. Just check us out, man. I've seen you around a couple times. Y'all look great. Y'all look great. But let's see here. Yeah. So this is a live Krungbin album that I have. That I think this is one of my prized possessions here. This is I don't know any of you Krungbin fans in Pittsburgh, but there was a show in April of 2018 that they played at the Rex Theater while it was still the Rex Theater, and then a couple of days later they played in Chicago and they recorded this live.
Dope.
And this was in 2018, so this is right after their second album release, you know, Cantoda al Mundo.
Wow.
But yeah, it's on this purple vinyl, and
Sexy.
and they have the hip hop melody that they
Oh,
have there.
they're hip hop. Like, what is it? What would you call it?
I guess
like
they call it a melody or a
It's not a melody.
homage. You know, it's like
no. Mashup.
It's a mashup
compilation.
Exactly.
There's a word for it where you play one song after another, but little bits of
little
each
bits,
song.
like 20 seconds each.
Yep.
And they do that so well, and that's on this album. And yeah, this is probably one of my favorite albums that I own because I mean it's recorded live, it sounds good live, and they've been releasing live albums since then, which is one I spun earlier with that Gypsy Woman. But,
She's sexy.
Laura Lazy is sexy.
She is so sexy.
She's a mom now. Good for you,
Oh
Laura.
wow, good work.
Yeah, when she liked one of my Instagram posts, I was like, you know what, I'm good.
I'd
Life's
quit.
good.
Yeah,
Life's good.
I'd
I'm
quit.
done. I'm
How'd
done.
you do
I'm
that?
outta
What
here.
did you post?
I posted. I have this Krungbin tank top, but instead of Krungbin, it's actually everybody in Pulp Fiction, but it says Krungbin underneath it, and it just I was standing next to a giant disco ball, and yeah, and Laura Lazy liked it, and
Dope.
yeah.
Did you design the shirt?
I did not design the shirt. Some Instagram page had them, and then they like totally disappeared. And I have another one that was it's Greta Thunberg, but underneath it says Fiona Apple.
It's kind of like that whole I'm gonna tell my kids it was
Right, exactly.
This was the Backstreet Boys
Yeah.
or whatever.
It was like those bumper stickers of Coexist with all the different religious symbols, but it said Comcast instead. It's so awesome. But yeah, it's like I think
My dad has that bumper sticker. It's so corny.
You should get him the Comcast
I
one.
know,
It's
he
so
needs
funny.
That'd be so much better.
Yeah, it's like, but like, I guess that company was so relevant that like the big wigs of these major corporations were like, yeah, you're done. But yeah, like that was one of my highlights of.
Wow, that'd
Yeah.
be one of the highlights of my life.
Totally, you know, and I was like,
How do you
okay.
think about your personal style?
My personal style? If I like it, I wear it, and you know, I own a lot of women's blouses, but I guess they're manly to some degree if I'm wearing them, right? It's I guess it's,
Whatever shows the chest hair best, right?
Exactly, right?
Is that
Exactly. People are like
the
nice
main-
chest hair. I'm like, it's my ant colony. That's how I've been here. I've come up with that after all these years. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's my sweater. Yeah, we know a nice sweater. You look like Jesus. I'm like, I like Uncle Jesse better. Damn it.
Ooh, Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse.
Because he was sexy.
Yeah, he was cool, and he was the cool uncle, you know. And he like,
the leather,
Yeah.
motorcycle.
what was his band's name again?
Ooh, the Rippers.
The Rippers. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Did I get
Rippers,
that?
was
Did I
it.
get
think that was
something?
it.
Jesse
Yeah,
and the
I think
Rippers.
Jesse and the
baby.
Rippers.
Man, I'm old.
Jack Ripper.
God damn, I'm old.
John Stamos, though. What a guy. We love him.
Rest in peace to the comedian who was the actual dad,
Yeah, what was
Uncle
his name?
Joey or whatever.
Yeah, right. I forget his actual name, but he was cool. Rich uncle in Beverly Hills. What a guy. In the late 90s. Inflation wasn't terrible yet. But, you know, we can go into a little bit of detail of this KG's
Oh, yeah, tell me
album.
about that.
So the KGs are actually members of the band Kool and the Gang. and that's why the KG, that's where that comes from. And they were they
Whoa.
started their own project, and I think this is their second or third album called Kilowatt. I mean, if you look at this album cover, it's like they're like funk Power Rangers, I guess you could say. And I mean, and it was, I think it came out in '78. I don't know when exactly it came out, but it was definitely the late '70s, and it's just like some of these tracks, like that track I Spun was called Tango Hustle, but all these tracks, like the KG's theme song, Cheek to Cheek, Space Disco, these are all like amazing, amazing hits. And a lot of people haven't heard of this band, and they have at least 5 or 6 albums, and I have like all of them, and they're just like funky disco bangers all the time.
Wow.
Right? It's good. This shit's so good. More of this, you know. But I guess, you know, the KGs are having so much success that they were like, okay, let's make our own band side of that. That Philadelphia sound is just like, you know, anything from D-Light Sound Corporations is just like usually amazing.
Sal Soul part
Sal
of that?
Soul's their own thing, but yeah, they are definitely like, I bet you they were the rivals at that time, D-Light and Sal Soul, but they were just like so good.
TSOP.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these guys are amazing. I'll show you like so I listened to a little bit of hip hop, but it's all early '90s hip hop. But this album kind of changed my life when it came back. When I started listening to it, I mean, Apocalypse '91, The Empire Strikes Back. This stuff is so raw and hard, and it's like, fuck the government, fuck dudes wearing ties, you know. And I feel like today's rap is just like money, cars, pussy, and it's like these guys are rapping about like real political issues about like actually the banking cartel are the dudes we should be worried about, and they did it in
Chuck
such
D.
a fat Chuck D.
Chuck
I
D
mean,
was a visionary,
he was a visionary,
and he still is. You know,
He
he's
is, for
still
sure.
like on his shit.
and he's still
Have you
relevant.
seen when he posts his book collection?
No,
He'll just like casually post a picture of himself
yeah,
in front of his library. It's
just,
one of the
it's
illest
massive.
music libraries I've ever
That's
seen.
super cool.
Hundreds of volumes, and he says he's read them all.
He's read them all. I believe that. I mean, the guy was a genius, and Flavor Flav too.
Yep, multi-instrumentalist.
Yep. Terminator X.
One of the greatest turntablists
And
of
like
all time.
these guys were just
X-Clan.
yeah, they would just go to all the shows and just stand there and just be hard, and like, you know, people loved it and respected it. It was such a show, you know. I mean, this album is just.
I had a
like-
good Chuck D story that I told Kahari Mosley when I had him on last week, but it didn't make it on the podcast. But when he played Afropunk, I got his shoes. He had a pair of Nikes. He was talking about anti-capitalism and tried to burn them on stage. He tries to light them up. He takes like butane at torch out and starts lighting his shoes. It was a pair of white Nikes. After the show, or like while he was trying to burn them, eventually they ended up in the crowd. He like threw them in the crowd, and somebody started passing them around. One person passed the next person passed the next person, next person passed the next one, and then it got to me, and I was like, I'm
put in your
keeping these
bag.
motherfuckers.
Absolutely, dude.
After the show, I caught up with him.
He
He signed them for me.
Oh, that's
I got a
fucking
photo.
Oh,
I have a
that's
picture
so
of him
cool.
holding the shoes,
With the
signing the shoes, and
and
then
you got
me
the
and
shoes.
him, and I have the shoes.
That's awesome.
They became my lucky shoes, and I wore them to every single test I took all the way through medical school.
No way. That's awesome. And they fit you, or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, no, they were perfect.
That's
they were they were
amazing.
13s.
Wow, that is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Chuck
Air
D,
Force,
dude.
Yeah, Chuck Air Force Ones or
Air
something.
Force Ones, yeah.
Yeah.
1991.
All white Nikes.
I mean, I was born in '91.
That's
so
crazy
it's
that they
like,
fit. I never even thought about that.
they
shit.
fit you. Explosion. You're like, you know what? We're gonna figure out.
They didn't have to fit.
They didn't have to fit. You still would have worn 'em. You're like, yeah. You're like
Cut a hole in
neurotransmitters.
the fucking hole front.
They're all like, they just smell like melted rubber forever.
Honestly, he didn't do any damage.
No
to 'em at
damage.
all.
That's so
Yeah,
funny,
they're
dude.
perfectly clean.
Chuck D, dude.
Yeah.
This album's amazing. Public Enemy.
Takes a nation of millions to hold us back.
Seriously. Always and forever. But I mean, just like what they were doing in the early 90s is just, it blows my mind. Seriously. Making samples like that.
What is Dini Daddy?
Dini Daddy. Yeah, Dini Daddy. So my last name's Palladini.
Oh, dope.
And my one bandmate, Lucas, he's like, he likes to, it all started with him sometimes I'll eat some weird ass shit, and he calls it the Dini Daddy diet. Like, he caught me like dipping a banana in like buffalo sauce, and he's like, "Oh, that's part of the Dini Daddy diet, isn't it?" I was like, "Fuck, I guess so, Loki." And yeah, when I started DJing, I was like, "Okay, I guess Dini Daddy it is my DJ name now." So,
But you're not an actual dad.
I'm not an actual dad, not yet.
You're
no.
the father of many.
I
Father
guess
of
so. I'm the father
all of us.
of
in a
all the
way.
funketeers, you know? Exactly. I'm like, if I can lend a hand, I will. But yeah, it all started because of my bandmate and my weird ass diet, you know, and it's here we are.
Do you think about like blending records versus like beat matching and why or like whether that's like important or like do you ever think about the other people who've come before you who also don't beat match? Like one of my favorite DJs, Carlton Goals, one of my best friends, doesn't blend records at all.
Yeah.
He blends them, but he doesn't beat match.
No, yeah, that's how I am. I feel I'm more of a blender, not a beat matcher. Honestly, yeah.
He's a selector, is the way I think about
Yeah.
it. Like somebody who just has the best taste in records.
Yeah, right.
He's like he curates the scene.
Right.
He has the best records and he plays them.
If the song's good, people will like it, you know. And it's like
love
I'm
that.
like I've been, you know, how many DJ events we've been to where it's 9 o'clock and the music's like this, and then it's 1 a.m. and the dance floor's empty, and it's just like that all night, and I'm just feel like there's no. I feel like it should be a roller coaster of like music that's slow, fast, and in between. It should be all of that, and you could go from slow to fast and then fast to slow, and it's like maybe that's not like the thing to do, but if it fits and it works, you know. And I would like. Yeah, I mean, BPM matching is important to a lot of people, but to me, it's just like, okay, how does this feel coming out of it and going into something slower or faster?
Very limiting.
Yeah.
Like if you're especially looking at a computer, but even just looking at your box of records,
Right.
if you're limiting yourself to another song that's within 2 or 3 beats per minute,
Right.
you can only play like 1 or 2 other records.
Absolutely.
Whereas what you're thinking about is more of what's the scene, what's
Right.
the feel of the song, what's
Totally.
the like band, the time period,
Totally. Absolutely.
how like what's the color of the record, how is it going to make people feel and react,
Absolutely.
and then you don't have to be limited at all
Absolutely.
by the speed.
Yeah, and that's like when I lived in LA, I had this crazy ass music teacher. His name was Thomas Atto, and he wore a cape everywhere. Like we didn't know if he was homeless or not, but here he had a studio. We would go to his studio, and he would trade me music lessons for giving him weed. And he told me, I'll never forget what he told me. He's like, we can see 2 octaves of light, but we can hear 9. And that quote has followed me, 12, 13 years later. It's like, then it's like we can hear music, and then you look at society and everything is so visual now. Nobody's listening, and it's all like everybody's glued to the television and nobody's listening anymore. And it's like that is kind of, we can see where society is heading towards a more visual plane when we should be listening a lot more. And I feel like music is the key to kind of get us out of all that, you know? Music is so important. Music's the realest thing before, I guess it's the most magical thing that we have, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, well, we have to listen to the music of the stars.
Absolutely.
And align ourselves to their vibrations.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Our the sound of the universe is Om.
Right.
It's a vibration.
Right.
And nobody talks about the color of the universe, the light of the universe.
Right.
I mean, Earth looks like a blue marble from outer space,
Absolutely.
or a tiny blue dot.
Little
People talk
dot.
about like the pale blue dot.
And everything we
but it also has
know
a sound.
ever is here.
If they find us, it'll be because of sound
Yeah. And
first.
I like the theory of thousands of years from now, somebody will come down and they'll realize how addicted to sugar our generation was. Like every sugar's in everything, you know? And like we got so way, like sugar was such a delicacy, now it's in everything. And I saw another thing is like when some alien civilization comes down, they're gonna find all the chicken bones from people and think that chickens ran society instead of like actual people. And I was like, that makes sense, you know?
My mom raises chickens.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
chickens are great.
Yep.
They're smart.
Amen. God bless the chickens.
Thank you, chickens.
And thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
That was
Dean.
sick.
Thank you, brother. This is a legend right here, Dr. D. Legend in the house. Thank you, brother. This is good, man.
Peace. Thanks for tuning in,
Cheers.
everyone. Blessings, blessings, blessings.
Good stuff, dude. I think there's some things you could